Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and today is Saturday, May 6th, 2023. The sun is in Taurus, and when the sun is in Taurus, this is a time when our outer life, especially our work, social, and civic lives, come to revolve around how we establish security for ourselves in our lives, what work we're willing to do, what we're willing to spend or invest in order to create a sense of comfort and security in our lives so that we can continue to do the work that we do. And, Taurus is ruled by Venus, so we have a lot of Venus action on the page today. So it's really going to be a lot about affection, about security. It's going to be about fertility and abundance, and that's going to be more of a personal life and a public life kind of thing, okay? So take fertility as creativity, just as a capacity to create something beautiful that will grow and last at this time. And then moon in Sagittarius today, newly waning gibbous moon. So this is the time, the day after the full moon, right? When we start to sort of slip into reflection. This is the planning phase of release. Okay, so this is the intellectual thinking about it, what we're going to do, part of our release of our creative cycle in terms of releasing what no longer works for us. First day of that. So what we're focusing on right now is how things came to ahead with the culmination of the full moon last night, how things have gone for us in the last few weeks, what has been working for us, what has not been working for us, and knowing the difference between what works and what doesn't work, then we can just start to think about how we're going to go ahead and get rid of the things that don't work for us anymore, right? And when the moon is in Sagittarius, our sweet little hearts grow wings. We want adventure. We are very curious. We want answers to questions. We're willing to get out there and take action, especially when it comes to expanding our sense of what we can be, do, and have in the world, because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Okay, so I'm going to start with today because what's on the page today is very positive, but I did put it down here in the lower right-hand corner. So we're down here to start today, we have this kite shape on the page. We don't have any really specific aspects happening right now. That's tomorrow and Tuesday, but today we have this beautiful shape that's being created today only, really, because the moon is always in motion. It moves 6 to 10 points every day. So we will not have this kite here tomorrow. So what is a kite? A kite is made up of two smaller shapes. One that is a trine, like a grand trine, which is 3 blessings, right? Moon trine Mars, Mars trine Neptune, Moon trine Neptune. These are all very positive aspects that have to do with our personal lives, our creativity, our sense of faith, our spirit of curiosity, and also our desire to make progress, right? And then we have this smaller shape called a minor triangle, and this is Pluto and Neptune and the moon, all again in good aspects with one another. Pluto, our planet for transformation, which is retrograde, so it's really our planet for personal transformation. It's for integrating the transitions and changes that we've been going through. This planet right here is giving us tools to work with the moon trine to Neptune. So sometimes when we have a trine or a grand trine, certain things are going so easily that we don't even think that we have to worry about it, and we certainly don't feel a need to to grow through it or to take any action on it. It just comes naturally, right? But then Pluto says, okay, but let me give you some tools so you can work with this positive energy. And the tools have to do with our desire to make progress out in the world, Mars, and therefore our need to make progress within ourselves, Pluto in retrograde. Okay, so we're being given tools for transformation. That's going to be different for everybody, but it's really a very positive moment to embrace any kind of transition you're going through, any kind of change you've noticed in your life. A lot of us have been through some endings or beginnings lately. Okay, and sometimes it's tempting to resist the change, right? It's tempting to try to say, oh, this one thing is going to change, but the rest of my life is going to stay the same. The truth of the matter is, as things transition in our lives, we transition as well. We make moves. So sometimes when one thing gets let go so we can pick something else up, a lot of different things change. Okay, so just lean into the transformation, the vibe of change, the desire to take action, to better embody the transitions that you've been through. And that's what's going on. This is a very positive, emotional, because it's all in water signs, right? And auspicious, because we've got that grand trine with those 2 sextiles there, okay? So that inner struggle of like doing versus being and integrating, right? We're getting a lot of help to deal with that. At this time, we're very sensitive, we're very open and idealistic. Our hearts want to provide us grace during this struggle. So the good news is that we achieve flight in that struggle. We are able to take action and embody our transformations when we lean into those transitions. So that's the good news about today. Now, tomorrow we have some action with Venus. Venus is moving on into Cancer. And that's forgive me, friends. Venus is going to be in Cancer through the 6th. And Venus's quincunx here to Pluto is going to stay with us through about the 10th. So this one's just a few days. It's going to be in Cancer for the whole month, right? And Venus moving into Cancer here with Mars is some really good news in terms of creativity, especially in terms of fertility. If you were trying to grow a garden or plant a baby in your womb, this is a good time to be thinking about doing it. Okay, so when Venus is in Cancer, we experience increased fertility in general, and fertility, that just means abundance, your ability to create materially what it is that helps you feel loved and supported in the world. Okay, that gives you a sense of purpose in the world. And when Venus is in Cancer, we are more nurturing and protective. This is more of a maternal vibe from Venus. We do go through some emotional highs and lows. There can be mood swings involved, especially as Venus gets closer to Mars, okay? But just understand that we're a little more emotional at this time. And be willing to go with the emotionality of it without judging yourself for being like too happy or too silly or too sad or too, I can't think of the word, but, don't judge yourself for being emotional in one way or another. Just observe it and, respect the fact that you have emotions and that they tell you things about how things feel to you with a physical sensation. Okay. This feeling sensation is informative. It helps us form our choices going forward. We're more sensitive and romantic when Venus is in Cancer, and also security minded. Remember, Cancer has a shell and it's got a pincher, right? It's very protective. So we're more protective. We have more protective, receptive hearts at this time. We're more protective of ourselves and of the people that we love, that we keep close. Cancer is all about the home environment. It's ruled by the moon. It's the personal life, right? So this is very much about romance and feeling supported and loved and secure in our homes and among the people that we keep close. And then also tomorrow, Venus makes that quincunx to Pluto, culminates that quincunx to Pluto. We've been dealing with it for a couple of days now, and we will deal with it for a few more days. This is, again, an emotional and transformative time as Venus is moving on into Cancer and Pluto is moving back into Capricorn. We're going to get in opposition there pretty soon, right? So a little bit of conflict, but right now we're just trying to make adjustments so that we can attract the connections. And that means, not just love and affection, but support and camaraderie, friendship, right? Making connections attracting those connections and attracting the resources also that reflect the growth we wish to experience, right? So we know what kind of changes we're going through. They're on our hearts, and they're in our hearts and on our minds all the time. So the transition, the transformation that you're going to, this is about becoming more receptive to those connections and resources that reflect who we are becoming, not who we were yesterday or who we were today, but who we plan to be tomorrow. Okay, and then on Tuesday, Sun is conjunct to Uranus right here. So these two have been closing in on one another for a while. And on Tuesday, that will culminate. It will be as though they're in the same place in the sky from our perspective, right? Our Earth-centered perspective. They will look like they're in the same place in the sky. This is a time when we can experience exciting upgrades, shifts in perspective, especially in our work, social, and civic parts of life, right? And that's in Taurus. So, Taurus doesn't necessarily always enjoy having upgrades and shifts in perspective, making changes. Uranus has been here in Taurus, making changes to our supply chain and our ability to get the things we want. And also, our thinking about how, what it is that we want and why, right? It's really been also informing us about upgrades in technology. So, it's not always comfortable when the Sun and Uranus are in Taurus for them to be conjunct to one another, but they will be conjunct to one another for a few days, and then they'll start to part ways, and they'll be about 3 degrees apart by the 14th. We'll stop feeling the intensity of that, right? But this is coming up on the 8th, so you've got several days of this intense vibe around things changing, things being exciting, things being new, especially out in the world in our social life or our work and civic lives. Okay, so just be aware of that those exciting changes are coming up. We have been through a lot of transition lately. We are going through a lot of transition right now. I don't know when it's going to settle down, because May is a really big month for us. We have kind of a year packed with big months. So this is just going to be one of those years, honestly, where we see a lot of things changing out in the world, out in culture, in terms of technology. And we're also going to see those changes at home and in our local community and in our workspaces. Okay, so we want to be as open as we can, as accepting as we can. We want to cultivate a calm state of mind around the changes that are coming up, so that we can so that we can get through them without feeling terrible. Right? Allow yourself allow the transitions to happen. Okay, allow those transformations to unfold. This isn't really something that you have to do, right? Mars is like, okay, we're doing transformation now, right? We're taking action and transforming at this moment. That's not how transformation works. It's slow. It brings us through highs and lows. It brings us through experiences, and then it says, okay, here you are. This is where you're supposed to be. Sometimes it can be kind of quick with Pluto, especially with Mars involved, a little more, with this conversation with Mercury sort of speeding things up and giving us this tension of opposites where, we kind of want to sit with our changes and integrate them. And at the same time, there's still a lot to be done. We're still trying to think, plan, and communicate about our day-to-day lives as our day-to-day lives are changing. So that's fun, right? Coming up next week, Friday the 12th, we have this nice third quarter moon in Aquarius. That will be the time when we switch from thinking about what we're going to get rid of in terms of stuff and things, but also thoughts, attitudes, and dispositions that no longer work for us. And this is the point where we switch gears from thinking to acting on it, to actually pushing things out the door, taking them to the Salvation Army, or doing what we have to do internally to discard old ways of being that don't work for us anymore. Also on the 12th, Mercury will be sextile to Saturn and to Venus, while Venus is trine to Saturn. This is all a very positive vibe coming up on next Friday, which is, when we really delight in things that feel secure and serious to us, especially in terms of Venus, those things we like, love, and can't get enough of, our desire to attract resources and attention and regard and recognition, right, is going to be in this perfectly positive aspect conversation with Saturn, which is our planet for structure and stability and being responsible and doing what we said we would do. And Mercury is going to be working with both of those, giving both of those planets the tools they need to negotiate a working peace where we can have, you know, this love and creativity and emotional security, while at the same time having the practical things we need sort of attended to on the day-to-day basis. And I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for showing up and for listening and tuning in. Those of you that tune in all the time, I sure do appreciate you coming. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, click that notifications bell. It all helps me out a lot. I, again, appreciate you for being here, and I will see you all in the next video.